This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Thanks for checking out 90forChill, the podcast. This is your host, CatBusRuss. I just want to make a little request to those who have been following the podcast for over the last couple of years. If you're doing it on the feed, that is 90forChill, all one word, .com, two separate words, the podcast. Please switch over and subscribe to the newest feed, which is 90forChill, the podcast with CatBusRuss. This is just a way to make things more affordable, and I greatly appreciate your efforts, and on to the show.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
Welcome to 90forChill, the podcast with CatBusRuss. This is your host, CatBusRuss. And this week, I'm just gonna pull out my review for Renfield. A picture I saw back in, well, I think it was the beginning of May, when I thought this film was gonna be out of the theaters. You can't really tell now with the release schedule according to the streaming services. So I imagine by this point, I hope, it is free to watch on Peacock, but no guarantees there. And disappointingly so, I was saving it for the physical release, and there's no steelbook. So that's something with Universal and Disney. Unless it's a major franchise, they are just going to tell you, enjoy your plastic. And, you know, I might pick this up on digital when it gets a little lower in price. So it's still worth at least $10. And hey, I spent $20 to tell you that. Another $20 to tell you that. So, well, it was a free movie ticket from the disastrous other Nicholas Hoult movie I saw at Savoy in Savoy, Illinois, which was, dang it, now I'm trying to, The Menu. Lots of fun. This movie doesn't quite make it up to that level, and I had just listened to my review, and I think it sells it pretty well still, but, you know, the further I walked away, and, you know, now that I've had nearly a month and a half to sit on it, I was kind of second-guessing myself in terms of what I was saying on that. Let's just say, I think there's just some major story flaws, I think, really. Yes, you need to give the movie a lot of action, but, you know, sadly, Awkwafina just being a cop with a vendetta to avenge, and that's how we're going to bring a great comedic talent into it, kind of disappointed me, sadly. But, I mean, she's good in the movie. It's just that, it's just such a cliche story. And let me just first off apologize to Ben Schwartz when I was taping this review right after I saw it in the parking lot of the cinema. I called him Ben Shapiro, and god damn it, that is damn near sinful. So my apologies a million times over. So yeah, so let's see, so I'll just say that the story, definitely could use some fine-tuning, definitely other ways around it, and yeah, it's nice to have Awkwafina in it, but yeah, it's just, again, she's just not used to her fullest. Maybe that's kind of something she was fine with, because she's just trying to expand her boundaries, but, you know, I think we got more out of her from Paradise Hills. So I'm not saying she's a problem, and I'm really just saying it is just them deciding to make this Renfield versus the mob. Such a sophisticated mob. So a little overly ambitious, I guess, is the biggest flaw with our villains. And as I say, the violence is so much fun, though, despite the action is a little on the weak side just because of how frantic it is. So it definitely could have been better, but again, as I say, it's worth your $10, let alone the money I spent on it. So I'm going to go and cut to that review after I play the trailer. So, yeah, when I originally taped that recording, I thought, oh, this would just be a 10-minute episode. So we're going to make it to 12, probably 13. So, well, 14, 15. But, you know, I had a lot of fun watching that movie. And speaking of the codependent themes, I'd like to thank everybody who was showing me support after my rough week previously. You know, just feeling kind of helpless and at the whims of other people. Thankfully, I've got a great episode, I hope. Just praying on the audio, of course. Lined up for next week with Andrew Teedy, where we have finally cracked the Tombstone Code. And we're going to get a lot of Sam Elliott movies, basically, is what I promise you. So, yeah. I do all my plugs and such at the end of the episode, so I think this is as good a place to leave you. Thanks again for coming to 90 for Chill, the podcast. And as I say, next week's going to be a lot of fun. So, enjoy this, and I'll keep an eye on iTunes and try to give updates for the next episode about the price point of Renfield.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you okay? I need to get out of a toxic relationship.
Why don't you start by telling us what brought you here?
My boss, he's different.
You can't get him out of your head.
No.
I need your assistance.
I'm coming, Master! Oh, you feel like he could destroy you with the snap of his fingers.
Wouldn't even need to snap. Okay.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, what?
Renfield, bring in innocent victims. I want a handful of nuns, a busload of cheerleaders.
And I just want a normal life again. But this modern world is a dangerous place.
Thank you. You saved my life. Did I watch you cut a guy with a decorative serving platter?
It's all in the wrist.
Let me explain.
My boss gave me this power. In return, I tend to his needs, including care, feeding.
You bring him people to eat? You're like the guy that gets the villain's Postmates.
But if you were to stop focusing on his needs, what would happen?
He won't grow to full power.
Exactly. He won't grow to full power. What? That's so weird. Why would you phrase it like that? But yes. Hi. Are you here for the meeting? Well, come on.
No! Some call me the Dark One. Others, the Lord of Death. To most, I am Dracula.
Okay, obviously we're dealing with a little bit more than just narcissism here.
Now, let's eat.
Just leaving the Savoy 16 Phoenix theaters in Savoy, Illinois. Finally getting to watch Renfield and holding off on this review until the physical release comes out. Essentially, this is probably the last week in theaters, at least first run. I don't even know if there's third run cinemas anymore, that this feature is going to be in town. So, you know, not much to tell you to run out and see it come Thursday or whenever I do post this. It is a lot of fun. Definitely really hits me close, being somebody who's dealt with codependency issues. And the humor is there. I wish they could have given Awkwafina a little more to do. I mean, use her comedic talents instead of just being a smartass. And Nicholas Hoult's great in it. Nicolas Cage is what you hope for. And Ben Shapiro does all right as the inevitable henchman of Dracula. So, a lot of things to like about it. I love the gore. It is knows how to just hit that right spot. Little tacky. Well, all of it's tacky, which is part of the fun of it. So it's something I think you can get anybody to really appreciate. Like, I don't know if I could ever talk my mom, a Hammer vampire fan, to see it, but, you know, it's just very much what you kind of want when you're going to go and subvert something. I don't think you can really hold back the PG-13 on this one. And just catching everything up to the modern times, at least in terms of, like, well, how would you handle this situation? And still leaving itself open for a sequel is great. It's directed, well, I mean, the action get very frantic, so the direction kind of falters in that aspect. And honestly, I think maybe they rushed things. Maybe we shouldn't even have had the Awkwafina character, because I really wanted more of a world-building experience. So, you know, make it a little more about Renfield and, you know, maybe, I don't know. Basically, give it a... Don't leave it so close-ended. As I say, it's not close-ended. Sequel possibilities definitely available. But, yep, it's just Renfield is constantly fighting off the hunters of Dracula to the point where the bankrupt... Well, essentially, they're bankrupt. The bank accounts don't have any money. So he's got to find new places to hide them, and they end up in New Orleans. So, and Awkwafina plays a cop fighting the top crime family who killed her father, and she's just doing her best, but the corruption in the police might be too much. So, obviously, they have to join forces, and things get complicated when they realize each other's identity. So, and Nicolas Cage, I mean, just gets to ham it up. But I think he does a pretty good job as a Dracula, or at least what if Castor Troy had become a vampire. And not as over the top as Castor Troy. So I guess this is one of his more restrained performances. So this is and as somebody who deals with codependency issues, seeing Renfield go toe-to-toe with Dracula, yeah, it was pulling on my heartstrings. So basically, they've at least given us a character who, oh great, now I'm talking, well, franchise, and yes, give me my 2-hour, 40-minute crossover with the Wick universe, I suppose. But so yeah, I will be looking for the Steelbook when it comes out, and hopefully not too much excitement will have occurred when that happens, just so I can make this 5-minute bit. Let's see, 2 minutes for trailer and a little BS for an episode introduction. So we're looking at pushing 10 minutes on this one. So with all that said, I imagine this will be the main event. So let me just go through the plugs. If you want to be on the 90 for Chill, the podcast with CatBusRuss, you can send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Offer me a movie, a director, a theme, an actor. Just try to focus on sub 100-minute movies, and that's the narrative. So if there's like obvious teasers, say like Deadpool, which you recently did, that doesn't count as part of it. So don't worry about sitting around through the credits for something that you know doesn't really have anything to do with the story. Now I'm just kind of thinking, well, does Skeletor popping out at the end of Masters of the Universe? But that's for another conversation. Hopefully you'll offer it to me. As always, rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps. I know Spotify does a lot of work for this show. I'm still an Apple guy, and if I will reciprocate those 5-star reviews. Just look for reviews by the Scoop Staley. And I guess all I have left is to thank Stacia Hardin for not being a codependent bitch and being such a great friend and always looking after me. And I hope she's hugging the hell out of Skimble, the one-eared angel. So Thanks for checking out 90 for Chill, the podcast. Until next week.
Can I hear a wahoo?
I just wanted to hop back in here to apologize for not mentioning all the anti-ska messages of this. It almost felt tacky using my Funky Panda music from Premium Beat to do my typical introduction, because that's the closest thing I have to ska probably in my entire collection of music. Like, you know, I'm just saying, like, we learn that Renfield's plan is to kill members of his codependency group, not the members of the group who they are being codependent upon. So, like, that's where we could have gone with the movie. Like, okay, have abusive ska guys who are selling drugs, and just make it about that, I think. And, you know, yeah, you might have to get bigger, but I think that would lessen the chance of Ben Schwartz playing Latino. So, just a little edit on my behalf. Hey, Renfield 2, I'm not for the WGA. Give me a call, Universal.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.